Okay, you guys, we are recording. Thank you so much for hopping on here. I literally have only brushed my teeth this morning. Like, I have not brushed my hair, so just excuse the haggardness. But I wanted to open up with this quote and talk about just some general things before we get started. So, I found this quote this morning and it really resonated with me because, well, I'll tell you why in a second. So, the quote is, "Don't give up because you had a bad day. Forgive yourself and do better tomorrow." And what I immediately first thought of, hang on, what I immediately first thought of was the push because I messaged in the Moneymakers chat this morning and Nat messaged the other day, or I think maybe I did. I don't remember. But we checked in with you guys. And some of you are doing a really, 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 really great job at participating. And some of you guys I know are doing the work and just not commenting. Which is fine too, but to a certain extent, that is how we see your engagement. Because if I had to keep my eyes on every single person on my downline, I would never have time to breathe, let alone work my own business, okay? There are way too many of you for me to do that. So I need you to hold yourself accountable. And what using this push does as commenting is shows all the leaders that you are participating. And if you are not just a single person on your team, I don't care if there's 3 people on your downline that have an active status but haven't worked in 4 months, you are a leader. If you have a single person underneath you, you are a leader and you have people watching you, and there are people that need to see your participation to feel like they can participate. So I would highly encourage you guys, if you are doing the tasks, to comment every day. And if you're not, then do not come to me crying at the end of this 90 days when you didn't hit diamond. It's that simple. So I know that that's some harsh love for y'all, but I wanted to open it up with a little bit of tough love because over 25 people told us the beginning of this month, I want to go diamond. I want to participate in this push. I want to be a part of this. And we had one comment at the end of yesterday's post. So I just want to put into perspective of that's okay. And we just did a whole Zoom on expectations. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to sit here and throw shade at you because you didn't complete your tasks. To be frank, I couldn't care because there's 10 other people who are coming to me working on their tasks. And I don't say that rudely, but this is your paycheck. And this is your business. And this is your team. And I'm not in charge of that for you. I'm doing my job by showing up every day in my personal business and showing up every day for you guys in multitude of different ways, and showing up for this push and giving everybody specific tasks on how to go diamond. What you do with that is up to you. And we say it all the time, but I can't do the work for you. Your leader can't do the work for you. Your team can't do the work for you. So if you truly want this and you're saying the things that you want out of this, which many of you are diamond, double diamond, triple diamond, shouting out all of these goals, I want you to understand that it's not just going to poof into your lap. You are not just going to go double diamond because, oh my gosh, I posted and messaged and got some haps up and so I'm double diamond. No, there is leadership that comes with being a double diamond. There is a huge growth in your mindset that happens over the course of going double diamond. And part of that is showing up in your personal business and showing up as a leader and being active and participating on things. So you should be giving yourself a pat on the back for being here, because this is one of the ways that you show up as a leader. This is one of the ways that you show up in your business. It may not feel income producing because you're not sending messages right now, but you're filling your cup. And I just want you to congratulate yourself for being here, because that is a huge first step. Next step, participating in the push and working on your personal business. Third step, creating layered leadership and teaching your team to do the exact same thing. Yeah, small wins. Congratulate yourself. That's huge. You showed up today. You got your butts out of bed. It's 10 a.m. on a Saturday and we're on a leadership call. Like, I know not a single one of us has showered and gotten ready, and we still here, except for Mads, her hair's wet. But anyways, you guys, I have to throw some tough love because you are leaders. And what we need to do is show our teams exactly what I'm telling you right now. I'm not putting this all on you. This isn't all on you. This isn't all on me. We are a team. We are a unit. And if you're not showing up your team's not showing up. So if you're showing up on these Zooms and you're participating in the push page and you truly are working your business, even if you don't have a single person on your downline, people are watching and we're watching. I'm constantly looking at who can I pull up? Who can I start to build? Who can I help reach their promotions? And I do it with people who are running, not with people who tell me they want diamond and then don't do a damn thing for the next 90 days. Sorry, not sorry, you know? So, yay. Now that we've gotten that off our chest, the other thing that it reminded me of, this quote specifically, is my life. I cannot tell you, you guys, and without getting into detail, like every time that something bad happens, I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst 24 hours that I've had. But legitimately, when I say that this is the worst 24 hours that I've had, this is legitimately the worst couple days that I've had in a really, really long time. And like, I have not been in this dark of a place for a hot minute. And my initial reaction when I get super anxious like this and really depressed, to be honest, is to stop working. Because the last thing that I want to do is to talk to somebody about sleepy tea when I'm bawling in the shower. Like, sorry, that's just the last thing that I want to be doing. So what happens over that course of time? I want to show you what the last 3 days has looked like for me, because I know I am not the only person who goes through shit. I know I am not the only person who is on this team pushing for a promotion and life seems to literally be slapping you across the face the whole way. And honestly, it can be discouraging, but at the same time, that's when you know you are right around the corner from a come up. And I will be damned if I let my foot off the gas because of that, right? Don't even put that in the chat because I'll start crying. But you guys, like, it's been an emotional roller coaster. And like, I am so thankful for this business, because without it, I would be calling off work and missing that paycheck and not getting to stay home with Oakland while I'm having literally the worst day of my life. Like, the worst day. So, having said that, you guys are my rock. And like, that is part of the reason why I love this, because it truly is such a family thing and we all have each other's back. But going back to my quote, you can't give up on your dreams and your team and what is happening for you in life because shit is hitting the fan. We don't get the luxury of working our businesses based off of emotions, because you are a CEO. You have a business to run. And I'm not telling you not to take care of yourself. I'm not telling you not to feel your feelings. But just because you had a bad day yesterday does not determine today. And we have to give ourselves grace in those periods. So the last couple days, because it's been really hard for me, I've been listening to so much self-development. And I talked about this a little bit on the Zoom that we did with Emily. But like, I do not like doing self-development when I'm in a shitty mood. Like, that's the last thing that I want to be doing. But I've literally forced myself to, and I'm pretty sure that it is the only thing that has held me together over the last 3 days and kept me pushing. Because when I look at Oakland, or I look at the dreams that we have, or the financial state that we're in, or whatever, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to get better. No dreams are going to be achieved unless I keep going. And Jade says it all the time on her Zooms. The difference between me and what I have and the people who don't is that I didn't stop. And that is literally the only thing that keeps me going. So I listened to so much self-development, it's not even funny. I journaled more than I probably ever have in my entire life about all the things that I am feeling. And guess what? When I didn't feel like sending messages, you bet your behind, I texted 2 other people and were like, hey, I don't feel like working right now. I'm in the worst mood ever. Will you send 30 messages with me, because I need accountability partner? And you know what? I did not go a single day over the last 3 days with sending less than 100 messages. You could not go to my page right now and tell me I did not add to my story and post. And I was real and raw, and I told people I was having a shitty day, and I'm resharing things that are similar to what I'm going through, and I'm being vulnerable. I'm not pretending like everything is okay. But I'm also showing people, and that's a huge part of this, that life goes on and you're able to do this as a luxury. Like, it is an opportunity for me to be able to work during a time like that and to help other people. And something that makes me feel so good and makes me feel better is helping other people. And when I sold a sample, that made my day so much better. And I did not want to sit there and talk to her about the skinny brew, but I did it anyways. And I puckered my butthole and did it because I wanted the $20. And guess what? She's probably going to place an order because she came by because she was local and picked it up yesterday. So my point is, it doesn't matter what you've accomplished over the last 8 days. We are 8 days in. I don't care if you haven't commented on a damn thing in the push page. Excuse my language. But I feel like I've been like cursing this whole time. But if you have not done anything this month, it does not matter. Cheyenne Knox, when she was going triple diamond, did not sign a single thing till the 10th of the month. When I was going double, it literally did not even happen until after the 25th. So keep your line of sight focused. Regardless of what is going on in your life, be focused on the bigger picture. And I feel like this just perfectly tied into today's topic, because today's topic is all about your why. And that is the only thing keeping me going, is the fact that I want to get out of debt. The fact that I want to get off Medicaid, and I'm so freaking sick of Oakland being on Medicaid. I want to sell our home and move to Central Oregon. Like, there are so many things that I want to do and continue doing, which is staying home with my kids and just all of it. And that is what keeps me going every day. And if your why is not strong enough, you're not going to have the motivation. You're not going to be inspired to work this business. You're not going to want to do the things. But you also have a choice to look at your business like a chore or like an opportunity. And I choose every single day to look at this as an opportunity instead of something that I have to do. So, starting with why is so huge. I literally, you guys, do not start my distributors on tasks, which I think, I don't know if this is like the right or wrong way to do this. Like, there's no right or wrong way to lead somebody or to work this business, but I'll tell you why I enjoy doing this. And I tell people when they join, like, I'll have distributors hit me up like, well, when do I get to start talking to people about the products or whatever? And I'm like, as soon as we finish this housekeeping stuff, answer these questions and get back to me, and then we'll start. Like, just trust the process. And that's a part of it, is controlling the conversation and reeling your new distributors in, especially if they're red and fiery and want to hit the ground running, which I'm all for. But let's do these steps first. Because if you have someone who wants to quit, or you know, you feel all the feelings that you feel in this business every day, you want them to be so focused on their why that it makes them cry, right? And I'll tell people these questions, these 4 questions when they very first start, and this is in all the training leadership that we have on the team page too. But these are kind of the questions that I ask them, and I literally say in the beginning, like, I want you to get so deep with yourself and so deep with me right now that we could literally cry together about it. Like, no one sentence answers. I want to know your soul for a sec, right? So the very first question is, what is your why, your daily driving force? And some people don't get this question. They're like, I don't really understand what you're asking. So I'm saying, why did you join this business? What is it that you want out of this? Well, I need an extra $500. Okay, well, what is that $500 going to do for you? Like, I make them get so deep with it that's like, I need the $500 because I have these 3 bills that I have to pay for and a negative account balance right now, and I don't know where that money is going to come from. If they're hungry enough to make those bills happen, they will do it. So 1, what is your why? What is your daily driving force? Number 2, why is this so important to you? What is going to happen if you don't pay those bills? Why is it so important to pay those bills? If you don't achieve your why, what's the cost? So again, not only are you going to be late on your bill, but you're going to owe an extra $80 in late fees, and some people will just straight up cancel you, right? Number 4, look ahead at 5 years. If you haven't achieved your why, where did you end up? What will you have given up, all because you didn't follow through and take enough action? And I love that last sentence because it really throws the ball in their court and says, look, the only reason that you're not going to achieve this why, this $500 paycheck that we have just talked about, or whatever their example is it's because you didn't take enough action. And that's, again, setting the expectations from the get-go of what they should be thinking for themselves, right? So I asked those in the very beginning. Hang on, Connor's calling me. Mads, do you want to kind of pick up on that, and then we'll go to the next thing?
Oh, yeah. So the fourth question that she's saying is what happens in 5 years if you didn't work hard enough for it or whatever. And this really makes them think, like, what's going to happen in 5 years? Like, really, like, theoretically, if you are staying where you are and you have 3 bills that you cannot pay right now, where are you going to be in 5 years? And then they have to think about that, and they realize they're not going to be anywhere good in 5 years. It really helps them, you know, realize that if they're not going to put the work in, they're not going to get to where they want to go. So this is a very, like, it already puts the I'm not a warm body in a seat kind of picture. It puts this is something I have to work for. Another thing, by stating all of this, having them answer all these questions, you're reiterating in their brain why they're doing it. So now they know in their head that it's already done. Like, that's already there. They already have it all listed out. They wrote it down on a piece of paper. So you have them keep the piece of paper or on their phone or whatever. Most people will write it on a piece of paper. But and then you have them put it up somewhere where they can see it, basically, is what I tell them. And then they read it every single day. You want to jump back in, Lex? Huh?
I don't necessarily have anything to add on the why specifically. Like I said, when Nat asked me, she was like, before, so you and Mads got this covered, and I'm like, this is a pretty self-explanatory topic. Like, I feel like you guys will get what we're saying, and we don't need to necessarily beat a dead horse. But I love that she made the comment about where they're putting this. So I literally forced them, I don't know, I hope I'm not repeating exactly what you just said. I was on the phone, so I didn't really hear you. But like a screensaver, or like you said, like up where they'll see it every day. So on their mirror or next to their toothbrush or whatever it is. And I tell them too, like, it is totally normal to feel like you want to quit. It's totally normal to feel like giving up on certain days, or like things are hard. And that is what is going to keep you motivated. So make sure that you look at that. Okay. So there's a couple other things that I really like to have new distributors, especially those who are really anxious. Like, some people are understanding, like, okay, I haven't signed an LC yet. What can I do to sign more, right? Or there's the person who maybe doesn't have as positive as an attitude, and they're like, I haven't signed an LC yet. I haven't done this. Why is my paycheck blah, or whatever, and they're not doing the work, right? So there's always one of two people. And what I love to send to the people who don't have as positive of an attitude about it is the Jocelyn Yates video on YouTube that is literally called Give It a Year. And I explained to them, another one is Carrie Young, Coin Pusher, right? And it's just explaining that entrepreneurial mindset versus the 9-to-5 mindset. And really the fact that, and I tell them this in a voice message when I send them the Jocelyn video, is we so often underestimate what we can accomplish in a year, and we overestimate what we can accomplish in 30 days. So even if you didn't make money for the first year of your business, you're in a way better standing than 90% of business owners in their first year. 9 times out of 10, people are in the red for years and years to come. So I always like to ask people where they see themselves in a year and where they want to see themselves in their business, and then make long-term goals with them, because sometimes, and it's likely that they are the type of person where a day-to-day goal or a weekly goal, it stresses them out too much and they don't see the big picture. So what's going to help them is self-development and making bigger long-term goals so that they see the true future with this company, because part of our job as leaders is to sell the dream. It's to sell the opportunity. It's to, all throughout the process of their promotions, keep them going. Like, you guys are here because you trusted me when I said, hold on, like, keep going. And the people who, just like we talked about earlier with Jade, the longer you keep doing that, the more you say one more message, one more day, one more post, whatever it is, you are compounding that effect and chances of your success being greater in this business. Mads, do you have anything to say on that before I go into the next thing? No? Okay. So let's talk about color personality tests for a second. You can know and go so many different ways with this. It is so important to know as a leader, and it's also just important to know about yourself. So Mads, do you want to kind of jump in on that, and then I'll tag on in the end?
Yeah. So the color personality test is one of my favorite things in the entire planet. It's very, the test that I put up wasn't working, which sucks because I did it like a couple weeks ago and I had everyone do it, but then the results weren't being emailed, so it was stupid. But anyway, it's important because you have to know where you stand and how you work your business. If you are a yellow, you're going to work differently than someone that is a red. If you are a blue, you're going to work differently than someone who is a green. Okay? Period. Point blank. Greens are going to overthink the entire planet and need all of the information in front of them right then, right now. Natalia. And right, like now. Like I need it right now. I need all of I need the entire 500 pages. I need to read it all. Okay? As with reds, are going to be like, I don't need that, throw that away. And they're like, just send me what I need to do and then I'm going to do it. So that wasn't an attack. I love you. But it's a thing. And if you're signing a green, but you just signed a red, you can't train the green like you just signed your red because the green is going to be like, what do you mean? I need more information. And you're going to be like, oh, you just do this. And they're going to be like, no, like they need more information to thrive. And so you have to know what you are so that you can help train them, basically. So I am 0.0 negative 500 green. I have no organization skills at all. I have zero. I don't care about any knowledge. I just do what I'm told, basically. And I had to learn how to train a green because I'm not any part green. And I'm trying to be better about being a green because, like I said in my video, in my live on the push page a couple days ago, your colors coordinate into your organizational skills. That's how you organize your life. It's how you organize your entire being, basically, is your color. And if you're green, your organization style is mint. And if you're red, like me, and a blue, like me, your organizational style sucks and everything's all over the place. So that's something that's really, really, really important. And if you know those things about your new distributor, you can help guide them into a way that they can organize their potentials better, in a way that they can organize their business better so that they have a better schedule that they can organize. You are helping them figure out why they act certain ways in certain situations. It's the color personality mixes into the entire planet, basically. And if you know your color and you know how to train each color, it's going to help you succeed because now you can talk to and be a leader to everyone. Like there's no, I'm a red, so I can only talk to reds. Like, no, I'm a red, but I can talk to a blue, yellow, and a green because of the way that I'm wording things and the way that I know who I am. So I'm able to repeat wording and their way of interpreting it. Does that make sense? Did that make sense? Because I feel like I just lost all of that in my head.
No, it totally makes sense to me. I love that. And it's also something that will help you guide them when you're talking about self-development, because you'll remember like Nat and I did a Zoom a while ago when she was talking about how Rachel Hollis is just totally not her vibe. When I think of Nat, I think of people like Grant Cardone. I think of people that are just hot, fiery, screaming at you, telling you what to do. When I think of, I don't know, Claudia, Rachel Hollis may very well fit her needs more than it would Nat. She might also need something like Tom Bilyeu because maybe she has a little bit of green, whatever it is. So knowing what self-development will coincide with that person, because if you give a yellow as their very first book, 10X, they're probably going to vomit, okay? So same thing goes with tasks. This will also tell you how quick this person is going to catch on. This is going to tell you how quickly and confidently they're going to run with the tasks that you give them or not. It might show you that they need a little extra hand holding, and that's your job as a leader, is to adapt to them. Your job is to show up how they need you to. And I'm not telling you to change yourself or to be fake by any means, but if you go to a red telling them all the things, they're probably like not going to take very well to that. So when you have, and you guys, I had to learn this right out of the gate because I am a red and I have a lot of blue in me too. with like maybe a drop of yellow. And I sign mainly yellows. Like 90% of the people that I sign are yellow. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because like that is just they take my confidence and feed off of it because I am so confident, and maybe with other reds they take that as like challenging, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So, the other thing with that is when you start to really dive into the color personality test and start implementing these things, like you don't grow by just taking your strong suit and running with it and making that strong suit better. You, by taking the color personality test and understanding what you are, it's really showing you the areas that you need to grow in. Because when you start growing and leveling up in the areas that you are not, is when you are going to be a better leader, is when you are going to be a better business owner, better mom, better wife, better woman, right? So, or man. But I love the color personality test. It's super easy, super fun. And again, this is just one of the other housekeeping things that I make people do before we even start. And there's a couple of those. So some people like that, some people don't. Some people want them to just start immediately doing things and doing those things later. There's not a right or wrong way, but you really need to understand your distributors, especially because once you kind of go through your first couple, like your first 6 months in the business, and you really kind of go through a lot of your warm market, a lot of these people you don't know. You know, maybe you've had a couple conversations with them about the opportunity on social, and you've like seen their kid a few times on their page, but like unless you're having truly genuine conversation with every single person you're talking to, which isn't likely, you don't know their life, you don't know their story, you know, and this kind of will lead you into that. Okay. The other thing with, I had kind of wanted to touch on questions that keep your distributors engaged. Like I get asked so often, like, how do I get my distributors to work? How do I get people to work? Number one, you can put a steak in front of a dog, but you can't force them to eat it. Right? So keep throwing the steak out, but until the dog's hungry, they're not going to eat. You can't force feed them. It's the same thing with this business. You might hear other analogies like you can't drag dead bodies, right? Stop trying to force people to work when they're not ready, because you're letting your ego get in the way. You're saying, this is important to me. You need to be working because this is how I'm going to get to my promotion. No. They are working on their time for their promotion. They couldn't give a shit about your promotion. Frankly, right? They just joined this business. They're worried about that $500 that they need to make to pay those extra couple bills. They don't care. And that's not a bad thing. Again, they'll learn that over time with learning to serve and learning what we do in this business. But right now, when they first join, they're just worried about them. So how do you keep your distributors engaged? Ask the right questions and show up in your personal business. Keep going regardless of who is working and who is not. When you post every day, you will start attracting distributors that post every day, message every day, do the things that you do. And you can really take some self-reflection and look at the areas that you need to improve on in your personal business. And I guarantee you, if you start watching your team, you will see them change with you. If you start focusing on HAPs, you're going to see your team focusing on HAPs. If you're focusing on product tester scripts, which is what I've been kind of focusing on the beginning of this month, a lot of my newbies are like sending these scripts with me, and we're getting a lot of potentials for potential distributors and potential customers and whatever. So just start with you, start with your why, and then move on from there. Some questions that you can ask too is like, why did you join me? Like, I'm super frank. Y'all know I'm, like I said, a red. So regardless, even if it is to a yellow, I'll say stuff like, why did you do this? Like, why did you click submit? What was it that made you jump? Let's talk about it. And get them re-excited about why they joined. Or I'll literally screenshot their why that they sent me in the beginning. This is another reason why I asked those first 4 questions. And I'll screenshot it to them and be like, hey, is this not important to you anymore? Right? Like, I'm serious. You told me that your kids eating was important to you. Is that not anymore? And people will either say yes or no. And sometimes they're going to be like, you know, I'm just this or that, or I found another job or whatever. I'm going to be like, boo boo, I started this when I was working 60 hours a week and I had a newborn. Like, no offense, but we all got shit to go through. Everybody has 24 hours in a day, and this is ultimately a priority. So is your future important to you? Is changing lives important to you? You know, all of the things. And I don't say that with any disrespect, but it's the cold, hard truth, right? So why did you start this? Other questions that I'll ask is like, why did you join this business if you had no plan to chase after your goals? Because you and I talked about, and you know, when you first started this business, that you don't get to be a warm body in a seat and get $1,200 a month. This is a business. You're not working at Subway. So why did you join this if you didn't have any intention to make it happen? Because you wasted your $50 and you're wasting my time. There are multiple other people who would like to join this business today that do want to make the $2,000 a month, and I need to find those people. So if that's not you, I'm not mad at you. I still love you from the bottom of my heart, and my door is always open. But I'm not going to pour my time into you if you're not willing to do the work. Another thing that I'll ask, and then Mads, I'll let you kind of jump in, is I'll make a statement like, you joined and trusted me to help you fill in the blank. So whatever they joined me for, again, I can go look at their why, or you can go look back at our conversations, or if I got them on the phone and I'm really starting to know them and know what they're chasing after and what their goals are, I'll say, you joined me because you needed to make an extra $400 a month to pay for X, Y, and Z, or whatever it is. Will you give me the chance to do that? Because ultimately, by you not replying or not doing the tasks that I'm giving you, you're not going to be achieving that goal. So you kind of have to make a choice. Are you going to sink or swim? You know, and these aren't like right off the bat questions, you guys. Most of the time I'll be like, hey, how are you? What's holding you back? I know that this is scary. I know that this is something new that you've never done before. Like, there's a lot of relating and coercing them to work in the beginning if they're standoffish about it or extra nervous or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you like can't get people to respond, or you're wondering, how do I get people to work? Start asking these questions. Start throwing their why in their face, because just like they don't give a shit about your promotion, you are doing this and showing them what they joined for. And you have to understand that when you try to make people work and you try to tell them what they're doing wrong, or what they should be doing more of or less of, you're really going to turn people off, and you're really going to turn people away, because there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no pace that a certain person should be running at except for your unsolicited expectation of them. So when you kind of take that out of the picture in a whole and allow them to just really do it or don't, and give them the tools to do so, they're either going to run or they won't. So Mads, do you have any like questions or things that you want to add on to that?
I basically asked the same questions, maybe sometimes in different wording, but it's mostly all the same. My biggest thing is put it on them. It's not you telling them that they're doing something wrong. It's not you telling them they need to send more messages. It's them answering the question and saying, oh, well, I could have done this, or, oh, I should have done that, or whatever. And then you're putting it on them to answer the question and be honest. And if they're willing to be honest with to themselves, like, hey, I could have worked harder in this, then they'll probably work a little bit better. But the problem is that if you're sending them a million messages and they're not responding to you, don't. Just message them once a month and see if they want to work. Because at this point, if you're stop now. At this point, if you've messaged them, you are going to get in trouble. Go. If you've messaged them and you're 6 months in and they're not responding to your messages and they're not responding to the questions that you're asking, they're probably not interested, because they've already quit. They've already took it off the table if they're not responding to you. So obviously stay tuned and be like, my door is always open for you, but go get someone new to replace that body. Stop getting stuck on the fact that they're not working, or how do I get them to work? If you have to beg someone to work, they're not going to stick with it. If you have to beg someone to join, you're probably going to have to beg them to work, which in turn is just going to turn into a dead body. So remember that when you're also signing them. If this distributor is into it and they're ready to go, but they don't have the money, and so you follow up or whatever, but they're still interested, then that's great. But if you followed up 1,200 times and they're not responding to you, at that point they go on the back burner of my follow-up. And they don't, like, I'll follow up with them in a couple months and see if they're interested. But I'm not going to follow with them every week, and I'm not going to follow up with them when there's deals, because I don't want to have to beg them to join my team. And I also don't have to beg them to work. I want good, authentic people to be on my team, and I want good, authentic people to want to work this business. And so I'm very selective about all of that. It's all very selective, even in the beginning of it. So I'm asking them the questions and I'm being honest with them and put it back on them. Because if you put the questions on them, they now have to think of a reason why they're not doing it, and they will realize that it is them. It is not you. It is not the business. It is not anything. But if you go at them and you're like, well, you could have did this better, or you should have done this better, or you could have done this more, or X, Y, and Z, and you come at them like attacking them, they're going to be like, oh, well, you're a bitch. Bye. And then you lose that distributor because you were too learn. So put it back on them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love that you said like the word selective too, because that is, you guys, why I love our influencer applications. If I've followed up with somebody 12 times and they still haven't filled out the application, do you honestly think that they're going to send the 100 messages when I ask them to on their third day? You know what I mean? Or whatever. And again, that's not that I'm not saying to follow up with them. I absolutely do. I never stop following up till somebody freaking blocks me. If you show me any interest, like you voted on my story, you're getting followed up with for the next 2 years. But having said that, I don't ever pull teeth. And when people say, like, for example, a couple of responses that I got when I was following up with people about this $24 deal is that they didn't have the money. Or I literally had a girl tell me, oh, dang, if I hadn't gone shopping yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to join. I didn't even respond to her, first of all. Second of all, the other people who did tell me that they didn't have the money, I said, do you not have cans or something you can return, or somebody who's willing to spot you the $25? When there is a will, there is a way, you guys. And I tell them that. It is $24 to change your life. And if you're not willing to invest $25 in yourself, you don't deserve this $15,000 bonus. So I love the influencer applications. Utilize those. And then some other things too that cracks me up, and that I'll say to people if we're really on the edge or they're gonna quit anyways, is I'll literally ask them, why did you waste $100 if you told me that you didn't have the $100 to begin with? If you knew that you weren't gonna work, or you decided that you weren't going to make this work for you, why did you waste the $100? You literally just threw $100 down the drain. There's nothing to lose at this point and everything to gain. So are you not at least willing to give this a fair shot and give this 30 days with me? Like, give me 30 days of once a day, every day for an hour or two, 30 days. And if you don't see any result, then we'll turn off your site. But if you do the work for 30 days, you will reap the reward. So I'll ask that question too. And then the last thing that I wanted to just end on, unless Mads has anything else, is this book that I absolutely love. And I put a section in this in the leadership unit in the team page. So there's all of my scripts on this. But one thing that they talk about is that as a leader, you should never be telling people what to do. You are not a manager. We should not be telling people to send 100 messages. It's one thing when we're like going through the training and we're like, okay, this is the task that we're going to work on today or whatever. But when somebody is coming to you saying, hey, I'm not enrolling anything and I'm doing all the things, and they tell me what they're doing, I see the areas that they could improve on. I know that they should be doing X, Y, and Z to get their enrollments. But 9 times out of 10, my solution isn't your answer. And you have to be willing to level people up. And one of the ways that you do that is by asking a lot of questions. You'll notice in that unit, there's not a single thing that I say that is answering anything. There's no specific task list that is the equation to an LC or a DT. It's a mindset. And you can ask them things like, well, what could you be doing more of? You just told me what you were doing all day. What could you be doing more of? to bring in an enrollment. And if they don't know, I'll be like, okay, well, let's brainstorm together. What are the first 5 things that come to mind when you look at your 6 list and you compare it to the other things that we've talked about? So they're going to get defensive if you try and immediately give them tasks or tell them things that they could improve on or whatever. A lot of people don't like to hear constructive criticism. Unless you have a psycho red like me who begs for constructive criticism, there's really no need to give it. It's unsolicited. And whether they'll tell you that or not, I'm going to tell you it's unsolicited. They don't want to hear that. They think in their mind, and they've already convinced themselves that they're doing all the things, so why are they not enrolling? You need to start making them answer their own questions. So this book called Quiet Leadership, really good, highly recommended. If you want to kind of play with it and just see how it works, go to Unit 2 today, go into the leadership, save it all to your notes, and try it on your distributors. And just watch what happens. Like, this business is such a what if game. Like, what if I just did this? Well, what if we did a push? Well, what if we fill in the blank, right? It's always coming up with new creative things. And we're going to grow as a team. And as my leadership grows, I'll be able to share that with you guys. But I'm sharing you the things that have worked for me thus far. But what I really want you to hear and get out of this, especially if your question is, how do I keep distributors engaged? How do I get my distributors to enroll? All the things, start with you, start with their why, go through the trainings, ask the right questions. And if they want it, they'll get it. And you have to be willing as a leader to allow people to sink or swim and not be or have an emotion about it either way. I'm neutral. I don't have a preference. If you quit this business today, if every single person on this downline quit, I would be sad because I love you guys, but I would rebuild. My business and my paycheck is not determined by you. And you should have the exact same mindset. You should not be relying on your teams to make you happy or feel fulfilled in this business or feel like you're a good leader. You don't need their approval. You're showing up in your business every day and giving them the tasks. You're a damn good leader. And believe it. So we're going to end on that, but thank you guys so much for hopping on today. I hope that this gave you some encouragement. I hope that it kicked your butt a little bit, and I hope that it gave you some good tips on how to keep your distributors engaged and focused on their why. So I love you guys. I'm going to stop this recording.